Hi everybody, this is Sharona and welcome to Joyful Gardening. Today I'd like to take you all on a little tour of my fall garden. So come along and let's see what's going on here at this late October. And these are the last of our warm days, or warmish kind of days. In another few days it's gonna get down into the teens. So it's kind of my last chance to really show you this. So I'm starting the tour at the very back of my yard where I have a raised area with acidic soil where I plant my blueberry bushes. So the blueberry bushes have a very beautiful color in autumn. Their reds are just magnificent on them. At the feet of my blueberry bushes I planted strawberries, and at the edge of the raised area, I have a border of different varieties of thyme, which is very useful in my cooking. I love the taste that it gives to soups and stews and to the tomato sauces as well. So that goes all along here. And right here you can see these this is a different variety of blueberries. And it has a different habit than the other ones. It is recommended to plant a few varieties of blueberries together so they pollinate each other. This is another blueberry bush. This one grows more vigorously than the rest and produces lots and lots of blueberries, although this year we had a drought, and because of the drought it produced tiny little blueberries, so they weren't very edible. But there's always next year, so it's doing well. And this is another variety of a beautiful blueberry bush. This one produces the largest blueberries, and I'm very happy with it. Took a little bit of stress from the drought, but it will be okay. Hopefully next year we don't have a drought again. Here I have oregano, also great to have in the cooking and to dry it. There is the rhododendron in the back, which loves acidic soil as well. And here's a little blueberry. Maybe we pick it and we eat it. Look how pretty. Tastes okay. Pretty good. I wonder how I got a blueberry so late in the season. It should only have blueberries in July. Oh well. Right here behind, I have a Kids Climax dinner plate dahlia. The more blooms that we allow the dahlia to have, the smaller they will be. If we deadhead and take off many blooms or keep only one stem, then the flower will be much bigger, can be larger than a human face. They need to be staked because they get top heavy, so the higher the stake, the better. And it did rain a lot last night, so they kind of broken down, but it's okay. They're still pretty. And I had this dahlia for at least 4 or 5 years. I bring it in the fall, and then I bring it back out in May, and I'll show you when I get to do that exactly how I deal with the dahlias. Down in here on the bottom of this dahlia, there's an area that I used to have strawberries in. And as you know, I took out strawberries from a few areas in my garden and replaced it with flowers. I have part of my order that I got the other day of lilies I planted here, and daffodils as well. But I covered it with all this stuff, dead material that I had from cutting down spent plants or perennials. And I use it to cover the ground because this will keep the squirrels from digging and getting the bulbs out and eating them. So yeah, I don't want to spend my hard-earned money on food for the squirrels right now. At the moment, I really want it to bloom and do to my garden the best that it can. The soil that gives life to the plants holds a lot of life in it for creatures as well, and that's the ideal soil that the plants will thrive in. Lots of microorganisms and macroorganisms as well, all kinds of worms and nematodes and millipedes, things that you can see, creatures you can see in your eye and creatures that you can't see in your eye hardly. They all live in the soil and are much needed. They will colonialize around the roots, and they will feed off the roots, but they will also make nutrients available for the plant. And that's why I like to mulch it, because the mulch will keep the moisture and the coolness, the temperature will be more even, and they will love living under the shelter, just like people like to live under shelter too. So that's the reason why I love mulching so much with organic, with the organic material, and the creatures will eat the organic material as well. The worms will digest this and take it down into the soil. So I'm going to pile up the organic material as I have more available later on in November, when all the plants will be dead. I will cut them off and either put them in my compost bins in heaps, or just blanket my my different flower and vegetable beds, and just allow it to insulate the soil and take care of everything that's planted underneath it. And here in front of you are some leeks and some celery root plants, and some grass and weeds that are growing into it, but not a problem to clear them out. Just a gentle pull. They're not a big issue right now, and they're not going to be a big issue either. So the leeks, I planted them in the springtime, and they are ready for harvest. So I'm going to bring you up close to show you how thick they are right now. In many cases, leeks can be left in the ground and picked the next spring. They can be left through the winter as long as you pile lots of dirt and build it up against it, and give it a good mulch around. So you can pile the dirt up right up to like a good 6 inches up, and leave it throughout the winter. I did that last year, and I had a few that survived very well. Not all of them, to be very honest, but it is possible. I'm going to pick these soon, and I want to prepare vegetable broth and freeze it for my winter cooking. And the celery roots, if you come close, they are growing to be a nice size. I'm happy with them. There's a lot that we can do, and they're very delicious. This is an herb, and if I find the marker that I left in the ground, I'll tell you what it is. This is marjoram. It smells good. Interesting smell. This is an aquilegia, and it is going to flower next year. It just gets ready. This is its first year. I found it growing somewhere in my garden and I transplanted it to here. I didn't want to get rid of it. It's a volunteer. I did nothing much to it. And over here there's more celery roots, and the leaves are really good in the cooking as well. And over here, my favorite pollinator plant, and basil. It's just a beautiful, beautiful, magnificent basil. And I have it planted right next to the tomato area, which has been, I don't know, I believe that it affects the taste of the tomatoes, because look at that bee, so cute. Oh my goodness. Hi there, friend. Because my tomatoes this year tasted so much better than they ever did. Yeah, it's not a myth. I'm telling you, it's not a myth. They do affect the taste. I had so many tomatoes that the whole neighborhood could have had a tomato party. Especially the cherry tomatoes. They are really, really amazing. Okay, I better move on, otherwise I'll stay here for a long time. And this is the asparagus. Raised bed. I dug a little trench to get the grass out from here, because I don't want grass or anything growing inside this bed. This bed needs to be kept weed free, because the asparagus plants cannot be taken out of this. They're permanent here for a long time, and they can live to up to 25 years. So I don't want this to ever get destroyed by weeds. I do have basil planted next to it. Worked fine. Didn't bother the asparagus at all, and vice versa. And watch, I just planted this in the last spring. I planted the roots, bare roots, and they're doing pretty well. I couldn't harvest any because it's their first year, but in maybe next year I can start a little bit. I should wait 2 years before I harvest, and then I'll get a real huge harvest all spring, maybe even all summer. A little bit of bunching onions here. Sometimes I like to leave onions for spring as well. I like to have an early spring harvest from stuff left over that I didn't need in the fall, and I leave it there for springtime. It's so relaxing out here in the garden at this time of the year, with the cooler temperatures and the rainy season, just allowing everything to do its own thing in its own power, and just watching the circle of life as many of these plants are just gonna died down for the season. But it was an awesome season. Even on the extremely busy work schedule that I had this summer, where I was unable to do things that I normally every year do, like feeding my vegetable gardens with compost tea and dressing it with compost mulch and all that kind of stuff to give it really good feedings. I didn't do all that. I just couldn't do it. I hardly had any time at all to be here. And you know what? My garden still did really well. And even though I didn't have mass production, like, like it would have been nice to have, we had food on the table from the garden every single day of the summer from spring until now. So I'm happy. Can't complain. The main thing was that I was relaxed about it. I just accepted whatever would happen would be fine, and it was. We will continue our tour of my garden on the next episode. There still is a lot that I'd like to show you, so stay tuned and we'll get to it. If while you were watching any of these videos, any questions came to your mind or comments, then don't forget to post them in the comments below, and I'll be happy to get to them and answer your questions. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more tips, ideas, and how I deal with many issues in my garden. Lots of joy to each one of you. See you next time.